Shalom Lekulam. Our lesson is a part of Shema Bekolah, Psalms for Sarah, online learning project, which is dedicated to the memory of Sarah Lamm Draj, Aleya Shalom, Yezichra Baruch. The third Lubavitcher Rebbe Tzemach Tzedek said, "If we knew the power of the verse of Psalms and their effect in the spiritual realms, we would recite them constantly." I will talk about Perek Tehillim Kuf 105. This Perek is recited on the first day of Passover, Pesach. Verses from 8 till 10 are parts or paragraph recited in the naming of a boy at Brit Milah. Verses 8 and 32 are found separately in the repetition of Amidah on Rosh Hashanah. Rav Kook said that Perek 105 is dedicated to the deepening our wonder. In the beginning of Psukei de Zimra, we read the psalmist called to express our marvel at God's wonders. Shiru lo, zamru lo, sichu bechol niflaotav. Sing, shiru to him. Play music, zamru to him. Speak, sichu, of all his wonders. What is the difference between these three actions, Shira, Zimra, and Sicha? Those are three stages. Rav Kook in his book Olat HaReiyah explained that we process our awareness and wonder of God's providence in three stages. The first stage is Shira. This is an initial flash of insight, a spark of poetic inspiration. The third is not fully defined and fully developed, but is the result of a clear vision, a pure and lofty insight. Next comes Zimra. This is music, a lyric song expressing our inner emotions. Our sense of awe and wonder touch the heartstrings of the soul. We are moved and filled with feelings of gratitude, and the heart responds with joyful song. Finally comes the third stage, Sicha. The word Sicha means talk or conversation. This is an introspective discourse as we contemplate God's sublime light and reflect deeply on the wonders of His creation. After the inner insight of Shira and the heartfelt song of Zimra comes the contemplative discourse of Sicha. Compared to the first two steps, Sicha is like a composition of prose, well developed and thought out. It expands upon the original flash of insight as we further examine life and the world around us. Speak of all His wonders. Great and numerous insights are revealed to those who reflect upon the wonders of Tmimim Deim, the Creator with perfect knowledge. Adapted from Olat HaReiyah. The Psalm Kuf highlights the importance of studying the history of the peoplehood and the Jewish history and the necessity of analysis of the historical events. Perek Kuf is dedicated to praise and thanksgiving to God for all He did for us, and especially for the land of Israel that He promised to our Avot and gave to us. Zachar leolam brito, davar ציווה לאלף דור, אשר כרת את אברהם ושבועתו ליצחק. ויעמידה ליעקב לחוק, לישראל ברית עולם. לאמור, לך אתן את ארץ כנען, חבל נחלתכם. He remembered His covenant forever, the word He had commanded to the 1000th generation, which he had made with Abraham and His oath to Isaac. And He set up to Jacob as a statute, to Israel as everlasting covenant, saying, "To you I shall give the land of Canaan, the portion of your heritage." It is interesting that the name Yitzchak is written with Shin, Yitzchak, and not with Tzadi as usual. Why? In the Sefer Nefutzot Yehuda, the explanation is given as follows. Yitzchak represents Midat Adin. Since it was this that was responsible for the destruction of the temples and our exiles, the Tanakh hints that eventually Midat Adin will be dropped in favor of Midat Rachamim in the time of redemption. Since the redemption consists of 4 stages, as alluded to by the 4 terms of Geulah in Shmot 6 and by the 4 cups drunk during the Pesach Seder, therefore 4 times in Tanakh the name Yitzchak is changed to Yitzchak. once in Yirmiyahu, twice in Amos, and once in Tehillim. This is to show that eventually the tzarot of Jews in their exile will turn around into the sason v'simcha of their redemption. The first 15 verses of this chapter are virtually identical to the song of praise David composed for the occasion of the bringing the Aaron ark to Jerusalem, as recorded in the book of Divrei Yamim. Accordingly, a number of commentators claimed that this psalm is simply a more elaborate version of the song David had composed for that occasion. The ark had been largely ignored ever since the fall of Shiloh, where the Mishkan had been situated in the hands of Philistines many years earlier. After successfully defeating Israel's enemies, bringing security to the country's borders, and capturing the city of Jerusalem, David decided it was time to bring the Aaron to the chosen city, to what would eventually become the site of Beit HaMikdash. This was a particularly joyous and festive event, in honor of which David composed the special song of praise and ordered the Leviim to sing as the Aaron was brought to its place. The ark is commonly referred to the Aron HaBrit, the Ark of Covenant, as it serves as a symbol of the covenant between God and Am Yisrael. Appropriately, this song focuses on God's loyal fulfillment of the covenant He made with the patriarchs. His promise to produce a great nation from rare descendants that would inhabit the land of Israel. David here recalls the nation's very humble beginning, how we were few in numbers and were forced to wander from place to place, ultimately becoming enslaved to Egypt. This psalm poetically tells the story of the Egyptian bondage and their 10 plagues, which led to our nation's eventual freedom. David proceeds to tell also the miraculous sustenance God provided for Bnei Israel in the wilderness, and finally of the successful conquest of their ancestral homeland. This psalm's final verse reminds us that God brought us into the land for the purpose of observing the laws for the Torah. David, who effectively completed the process of kibush haaretz, conquest of the land, by securing Israel's borders, made a point of publicity bringing the Aaron to his new capital, Jerusalem, to demonstrate that the process revolved around the Aaron, the covenant between us and the Almighty. The long, complex history of Am Yisrael, which began with the trials and tribulations confronted by Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, was for the purpose of Bnei Israel establishment of a nation in their land where they would be loyally serve God by observing the Torah. In this song, David seeks to remind the people of the underlying purpose behind their capture and settlement of the land, and the need to make the Aaron, the Torah, the focal point of the country's existence. Rav Kook describes us our double tie to the land of Israel. After bringing the ark to Jerusalem, King David appointed the Levites to play their lyres and harps and sing God's praises. He instructed them to thank God for His many kindness, including the special gift of Eretz Israel. וימדה ליעקב לחוק, לישראל ברית עולם, לאמור, לך אתן את ארץ כנען, חבל נחלתכם. God established it to Jacob as a statute, an eternal covenant to Israel, saying, to each of you I give the land of Canaan, the portion of your inheritance. The Hebrew text contains a grammatical difficulty not apparent in the translation. This verse opens with God's promise to give each individual, lecha, in the singular, a portion of the land of Israel, but the verse concludes by referring to the land of Israel as nachalatchem, using the plural you, your collective inheritance. Why the switch from singular to plural? Rav Kook explained that we connect to the land of Israel in two levels. Our first connection is through the ties that connect the Jewish people as a whole with the land of Israel, an eternal bond throughout the generations. But there exists an additional layer, a special connection between each individual Jew and the land of Israel. There exists an exact match between each individual according to one's talents and traits and unique soul qualities and Eretz Israel. This is our special chelik or portion in the land. This is intent of the prophetic statement, the verse starts with the individual. To each of you I give the land, and ends with the collective, the portion of your collective inheritance. Our bonds to the land of Israel include both our personal connection of the land to the land and well as national eternal ties throughout the generations. This double connection is also reflected in the phrase Hevel Nachaltechem, the portion of your inheritance. The phrase appears to be oxymoronic, for Hevel means a set, measured area of land, while the word Nachalatchem indicates an inheritance that's boundless. For all times is our inheritance but moderate and boundless. In fact, our tie to Eretz Israel encompass both aspects. We have a specific portion in the land, our Hevel, according to our unique soul qualities, and we also share eternal beings to the land. Our Nachalah as members of the Jewish people, party to God's eternal promise to Israel. He conferred it to Jacob as a statute, an eternal covenant to Israel. Adapted from Lat Re'iyah.